Hello and welcome to another episode of the Full Force Weekly, brought to you by GeneralsJoe'sReborn.com with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostik80. For today's episode, I am joined by the awesome Patrick Notpicard Stewart and Justin Generals Joe's Bell. In this regular video series, we round up all the week's news in the world of G.I. Joe. It's Full Force Weekly, and what's hilarious about this is that we've already done this, and I just messed up, so had to do it again. So we got a little way into the news, and then... But I'm going
to... Patrick told the best joke ever, and you guys, you all missed it.
I'm not going to tell it again.
Yeah, it's too late. The moment has passed.
Damn it. Anyway. Right, let's just get stuck. Well, we've had a bit of news sneak in. As it always does on the Full Force, on the day of recording, but we've got it in there, and we talked about sliding into DMs, and we talked about, what was the other thing we said? You said
Netflix and chill.
Netflix and chilled. We slid it in there.
It was a lot funnier the first time.
Yeah,
around.
And we were just being disgusting, so you haven't missed out on anything. Right then, first up then, it's Major Blood news. The Voldemort exclusive G.I. Joe classified special missions Cobra Island Major Blood has been hitting the store that will not be named all over the country and in much larger quantities than any of the other figures we've seen previously in the same line. Guys, are we seeing a change in rollout for this figure, do you think?
Well, I was going to say that...
Hang on, I'm going to have to stop again. We're going to have to do this all over again. I'm kidding. This is exactly the point where I stopped last time. Just so, full disclosure for everyone watching. Go on, Pat.
I was going to say that we really haven't had, unless I missed it, we really haven't had any sort of pre-orders online for him in any official capacity.
Not that I can remember, no.
At the store that will know where you are if you say its name. At the brick and mortar stores, they're handling things a little bit differently. I think with the last wave of Cobra Island stuff, it was pretty universal that everything was in the back. You had to ask somebody to get it whenever they first showed up in store.
Yeah.
This time around, I'm generally hearing from a lot of people that they were physically finding it on the pegs. So I think that there's a little bit of a different approach as far as what maybe they communicated with how to handle these. And I think that they are being a little bit receptive to some of the problems. I know for me, it's definitely softening the blow, being able to find them in the store prior to any kind of pre-order date where they sell out in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It kind of raises my frustration level prior to even having the opportunity to walk in and buy one. So I think that it is a little bit better, and I hope that maybe there's another round of Major Blood showing up. But who knows? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. It's not necessarily, so you're not thinking it's necessarily bigger quantities, it's just the way they're handling the rollout.
I think it could be bigger quantities, but I think that just from observation, there has been a little bit of a different rollout. So it could be both.
We're going to have some shout-outs, obviously, later on. I've already managed to pick up 2. So, usually for me, I'm waiting on the day that it actually comes out, and then people to help out and then send it to me. But this time, I got it, couple of weeks before the actual official street date, which wasn't really official because no one ever actually officially stated that was the official street date. It was just in the target system, right, Justin?
Yeah, they're waiting for Yojo June to announce the pre-order date, which was 2 months ago.
How interesting would it be if in Yojo June they say, yeah, we're releasing it, and then here's another date for it's going to be online, and then everyone's like, well, I've got 6 of them already.
That'd be great. I think that'd be preferable to the way things have gone in the past. But I
have to agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple different elements. I think this, from what we can tell, is shipping in full cases of just Major Blood. So most stores, even if they get a case, they're getting at least 6. I've seen pictures of people finding 6 of them on a shelf. I've seen a picture of somebody who went on vacation somewhere and apparently stopped at a few Targets on the way and literally had a table of 18 of them.
Crazy.
That he took a picture of. So, I mean, they certainly seem to be out there in more quantities. I'm not going to say it's perfect. I haven't, not every single person who wants one is finding one, but, it seems clear to me that it's better. I don't know if we can go as far as saying it's good, but it's better.
Well, I would say to that, would you think one of the main issues that is really difficult to kind of contend with are kind of like the scalper side of things, who will
Certainly.
get... I mean, I know a lot of people that have been buying multiples, but they've been buying multiples because they're getting them for other people. And that is like, totally understandable. Some people are buying some but leaving some behind, which again is a very, admirable kind of gesture. But for the most part, we still have that problem where people are trying to get on board early on to get as many of these things as possible so they can still sell them for a higher price on the secondary. Do you think we should? It's a shame that we're in this situation, because can we not just have it so that we get them out to people that generally want them, and then following that, if they're scarce or rare, that's where the price should be getting raised, not like beforehand, before they've even hit shelves.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a kind of a fear of missing out sort of thing that really drives people to buy early and overspend at the beginning. I know I was guilty of that with the Cobra Viper. I bought Cobra Viper for a pretty high price in the secondary market. As it turns out, I'm glad I did, because that's the only opportunity I've had to get one. They're probably a little bit less on eBay now than they were when I bought one. So, I mean, that sort of thing, I think there is a real fear that, Target's going to get one shipment of these and they're going to be gone, and you're going to be paying secondary markets anyway, so you might as well just rip the Band-Aid off at the beginning and get it over with. I'm not sure really, because I know figures like Beachhead and, Firefly have dropped quite a bit on eBay on the secondary market since they had first been released. Even the Cobra Viper and Cobra Trooper, I don't know about the Cobra Trooper, I haven't looked at that recently, but the Cobra Viper has gone down some, though not a ton.
I imagine the Cobra Trooper would have dropped when the infantry came out.
I would think so, yeah.
Because I mean that's always been the case, hasn't it? In general, like sometimes if it's a really rare kind of piece, it might keep its value or go up a little bit. But usually when they release like another figure that's basically the same figure but like slightly different, they usually kind of has an effect in the other direction, doesn't it? One thing I will say, like I think something you mentioned before, it appears online like loads of people are seeing them, loads more than I thought. When Viper and Firefly were out, when the Cobra Trooper, Baroness, Beachhead and Roadblock were out. Now, I'm not sure if that's just because more people are aware of the situation and are taking pictures like more often, or what, but it does seem to me like there's been a shift change with that. Like it seems quite clear to me. And you were right, you mentioned that not everyone's getting them, and that has to be mentioned. Like some people are not finding them as easy as other people. But, in my area, I don't think that many have been found. And we're next to Hasbro. We're like a friggin' quarter of a mile away from them. So, like, I don't really know what the kind of exact, like, details are. But it definitely feels like an improvement for me. Yeah,
I mean, typically there's this logistical thing where, shipments come in on the West Coast, and you usually can kind of follow the train as it, first it's found in California and Arizona, and then it kind of moves east. They've already kind of found some major bloods east. This time I think I saw one in Rochester, New York. Somebody found one. So they're clearly already out there somewhere along the eastern area. So I don't know if that will still come into play or not, where we might start seeing more and more sightings kind of as the product moves through distribution warehouses and stuff. But
they've certainly got lots in Minnesota because that kind of area, because in Iowa, because Brian said he went to a bunch of targets and ended up finding, not buying, but finding 28 major bloods across all of the targets they went in.
Cow.
And I was like, so they're all there, and then they just distribute them.
Yeah.
So
Target is sort of based in that Midwest area, isn't it? Kind of. I don't know.
That's probably why they're getting quite a lot of them then in that case, because but I mean, I think there's an improvement there. It's not perfect, like you said, but this is probably the right direction to be going in, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't think of a single story I heard where somebody found 28 of any of the previous stuff in any one trip. So I mean, that seems already right there like a dramatic improvement.
That wasn't in one store, by the way. That was in multiple stores.
Oh no, I get it.
Just to confirm for the listeners, that he did not find them in one store. He went to multiple stores. He went to 2 stores.
I applaud him. I applaud him holding back on the scalper desires there, because I mean, 28 major bloods, he could have done pretty well for himself.
Well, he bought multiple, but he's dispersed them throughout the fandom, people, which is amazing. For triple the price. I'm joking. He didn't do that. But anyway,
it's still cheaper than eBay.
Exactly.
eBay's like 5 times the price.
Exactly. Well, we'll get onto some more bits and pieces in the shout-outs for that. But anyway, next up, let's move into some core Ninja news. On Wednesday, we finally got to see the packaging for the 6-inch Core Ninja figures, 12-inch Titans, and roleplay items for the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins movie Kids line, courtesy of a number of wholesale sites. The packaging for the kids' 6-inch figures turned out much like we expected after Hasbro had informed us of the basic blister card layout with generic Snake Eyes artwork across the line. The figures with motorcycles will be on larger blister cards, the 12-inch Titans will be in a standard tall window box, and the roleplay gear will come in an open box style package. The red and black theme is striking, and I really like the look of this product, especially at the lower price point. I'll definitely be picking all of this up, including the roleplay items. Yeah, what are you going to do about it? Lads, thoughts on the packaging? Was it what you expected, Pat?
Yes, kind of. I think that whenever I look at toy packaging at this point, I'm looking at it from two different perspectives. On one hand, I'm comparing it to that beautiful packaging from whenever I was a kid, and you had, amazing art and all this color, and these aren't really that. But then I also look at things that have been super successful, like the Star Wars Black Series. Whenever that came out, the entire approach of the Black Series was, hey, all the toy aisle has all these crazy colors and all this stuff trying to stand out. What if we just went very monochrome and very basic? How would that look in the aisle? And obviously it worked. It doesn't make for super attractive packaging to me. It comes across as being a little bit high-end as far as the Star Wars Black stuff. But my point is, when you're looking at packaging, how well is it going to stand out on the shelves and make it look different than the other toys there is something that needs to be considered. So I kind of am looking at things twofold. On one hand, is this something that I would love to own as a package? Not especially, which has been the case certainly with like the Retaliation packages we had not too long ago.
Yeah, I really wasn't into that.
No, I wasn't into that one.
Figures were freaking amazing, but the actual packaging, I was like, it's so gross.
I think this is better than that.
Yeah,
but it's not about the packaging with these. It's
True.
About the attention of kids. And are the toys going to be fun? And I think that it's going to hit on both of those.
Yeah. What I find interesting when I look at this is when you kind of compare it to what's come in the past, not just packaging, but like the actual line itself, the figures itself. This almost feels like this kind of new 6-inch for kids line does feel very much like an amalgamation of a number of different things kind of almost like meshed together from previous to create something slightly new, but then also quite recognizable at the same time. So, like, I feel like there's kind of like a mixture here of obviously like the 4-inch modern Retaliation style of rollout and product mixed with this slightly larger scale. So it's almost like just a slightly bigger version of the Retaliation figures in a weird way to me. Rather than trying to balance between this, bring the Retaliation figures out so collectors will want them, but also kids might want to buy them too. Whereas this is definitely, for me, it's like they've gone classifieds for adults, this is for the kids. Like, it's very clear distinction. Whereas I thought like in the previous years, Rise of Cobra, Retaliation, it was all kind of a balance between the two, like, not really collector friendly, not really for kids. So it was like this, it kind of missed a little bit. Do you think that that's a purposeful route they've gone down to kind of ensure that they now have two clear lanes?
Yes, but with some compatibility across the two of them, because if you look at some of the Marvel movie stuff that had recently come out, a lot of that was a 5-inch toy line for the kids, and then a 6-inch toy line for the collectors. Whereas these, both being 6-inch, I think that it gives an entry-level point for kids, along with some gimmicks that are going to work for kids. But it also means that if they happen across a good deal or somebody buys them that 6-inch figure, those figures are going to pair well, and maybe even as the kids get a little bit older, they may gravitate towards some of those things that were the size of their childhood G.I. Joes, but are for a little bit of an older kid or an adult with the kid in us.
You can't prove anything. I must admit, like, one of the things that strikes me about this line is the roleplay items. That's never been the case. Like, I will emphasize that when I've seen roleplay items from Rise of Cobra, Retaliation, things in the past, I have not given a single shiitake mushroom about any of it. And yet, when I saw this roleplay stuff, for some reason, it's grabbing me. And I know I'm going to have to wear like 3 of those bandoliers for it to kind of actually fit. But I'm going to be buying it all. Justin, are you probably not thinking the same thing because you're an adult with a bit more maturity than I? But
not much.
What do you think about the roleplay stuff?
I think it's neat. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll buy any of it. I've got too much junk as it is, but I mean, I like that they've put some real thought into it. I like the fact that, some of the weapons are really customizable and interchangeable, rather than just kind of vomiting out, this very basic plastic swords or whatever. They really seem to put some thought and attention into it, which I think is really cool. Because,
heads-up display in a mask. How cool is that?
I mean, yeah, it is. It's really awesome. So I applaud them for what they've done. If I didn't already have so much stuff, sitting around that I wasn't doing things with, I might be tempted. But
I'll borrow yours and then clip them together so they go around my body.
There you go. But I do want to kind of harken on to what one thing that Pat said, sort of about the kids line versus the classified line, that I think was a really, really great point.
It was.
In that, the scale compatibility makes this kids line a very great gateway drug to kind of get them interested and make the transition to classified, if they so choose, all that much easier, because it's the same size. There's some compatibility between the two. There's similarity in design aesthetics. And you've got the Red Ninja in both lines. So I think that's a really great point, and can probably speak, because I've seen a lot of people say, well, why didn't they just do 4-inch figures? But it's, there's a pretty clear dividing line once you change scales like that. And I think by making them both 6-inch and, subtle differences between the two, I think you make it easier to transition from one to the other, or to say, well, I got, this Snake Eyes kids figure. But this Cobra Commander looks really cool. Yeah, he's a little bit more expensive. He's got more detail or whatever, but he could still work.
Don't touch him. Don't touch him, little Toby. That's not for you. Keep moving.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a great, that kind of interline compatibility could play a really big role in sort of, getting people more invested in the classified line who might have just started out with the kids line. So I thought that was a great point.
Absolutely. Really good point, actually, Pat, as well. We're just going to discuss your points. You just keep quiet over there while we discuss your points. But also, how difficult's the Night Creeper going to be to find? Because I've got a feeling every collector is going to be after the Night Creeper. And, to probably in a similar vein, probably a few more Red Ninjas as well to kind of go with that army build kind of scenario. But that Night Creeper is going to be hard, isn't it?
Yeah, and it looks great. I mean, it's not classified level, of course, but I think if you put it in the background of a display or something, it could still be pretty cool. It's got very vintage kind of aesthetics to it. So I think, that's probably going to be the hot one of the first wave, at least among adult collectors, I believe. Among the kids, I don't know, because I don't think the Night Creeper appears in the movie, at least not looking like that. So they may not gravitate to that too much, but the adults will probably, claw all over it.
Of course we will.
When I say adults, I'm not talking about us. There's no adults on this call.
Not at all, ever. I get the feeling that we'll see a Night Creeper in the regular classified line as well.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I just think it's going to happen. Pat, what do you think about that?
I just you saying that got me a little bit excited there. I've always been a huge fan of Night Creeper.
All of them, yeah.
I would absolutely love that. And this kind of teases, that they have some kind of thoughts in mind on updating an original Night Creeper design. So I don't know. I really felt that the Red Ninja was a little bit close to a Night Creeper as it was. So I'd really like to see. I'd love to see actually a new Night Creeper. Completely not just a repaint of the Red Ninja, but something new. That'd be great.
I feel like
for these things will go up.
I'm not sure what's happening with this. Maybe they're just going straight to stores. That's what it feels like. I think we've got August at the moment. I've got a feeling in Yojo June they're going to announce that this stuff's going to be coming earlier. Personally, I don't have any info on that. I just have a feeling that they might be announcing, because the movie's been brought forward. They might be rolling out the toys, closer to the film. Because I think initially it was August for Wave 1, which consisted of Snake Eyes, Ninja Tech Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, and the Baroness. And then Wave 2 was November, and that was Scarlet, Red Ninja Night Creeper. So, and I believe the bikes are in Wave 1 as well. So I think that was going to be like the rollout and that was going to be in August. Now, I know it's not that far away from July 23rd, August. You're only talking like a week before it's August. But I would imagine that it would probably be, the middle of August as opposed to the 1st of August and when it was brought out, just because that's what we've seen a lot. It's usually like the first week in the month that they kind of drop this stuff, or like later in the month. So I don't know the details or anything, but I have a feeling they might, because I mean this stuff has to be ready to go because this movie has been in the bank for like over a year. So there's no way in heck that Hasbro don't have this stuff ready, at least made, ready to go.
I don't know. I mean, I would like to say you're right. It's a tough call. I don't, because I know typically they do toy production, as far in advance of a movie's release as possible. What really is kind of confusing me is kind of the classified release schedule, because I think what's Wave 1 slated for there, like October?
October, yeah.
I mean, and granted, that's when the movie was supposed to be released, was October. So maybe you're right. Maybe they'll announce they have bumped it up. But I'm not sure how easy it is just to kind of flip a switch and start distributing, shipping toys earlier. If they can make that work, that'd be great. I'd be all over it. But
I guess there is that thing you have to take into consideration, that they have like specific schedules to stick to.
Right.
And you're right, they can't just go, okay, we'll take that tooling out and put this tooling in. Bang! Right. It's like, no. Well, for one thing, you need a friggin' chain and a crane to deal with that. But like, I feel like the, I personally, if I was the company, would have been like making sure ducks were in a row.
Yeah.
Kind of well in advance of this stuff. But I know with COVID, the way that's happened, that's going to throw spanners in the works. But you see, they've been churning out the classified stuff. So I wonder if, I'm not necessarily classified figures are going to be on the shelves, but I think the kind of kids stuff might be ready to go, personally.
Yeah, I could see that. And I think Major Blood is kind of a good example of that sort of thing where, like, I mean, there was rumors of Major Blood for a long time, but nobody really knew about him until, like a month ago?
Apart from 80s tees.
Yeah. And now suddenly, he's on shelves. So, I mean, obviously, he was in the works for a while.
Pat,
they managed to sneak that on us.
Just a quick note, Pat, can you do an 80s tees check for us, please?
I did just before we started, and we're okay.
I'm leaving that in because I love the fact we have to check 80s tees before every recording, because we have been burned on like 3 occasions.
Spelled Tease.
Oh my goodness, that's perfect. T-shirts in the post, lads. 80s tees. Yeah, I just know barbecue's going to be popping up anytime between now and next month, which is only about 7 or 8 days. Right. Okay. Well, that's the kids stuff. We also that actually was the first time we saw the Titans, or the movie Titans figures, because we had seen a 12-inch Snake Eyes that does all the ninja strike, they call it, and he's got like the sword and he wobbles around and he does some cool stuff. But these are your kind of standard issue Titan figures, and it was a Snake Eyes and a Storm Shadow. This is kind of slightly related but not, but what happened to those regular classified Titans that popped up and then have just, like, it was like there was in one store, there was a picture from them in one store and there was no mention of them again. I haven't seen them. What happened? Pat, I'm looking at you, Pat.
I thought that they showed up at Target and then somebody said like a Dollar General or a dollar store of some kind that they had found them. Was I wrong about that?
I don't remember. All I remember is that one picture of them on the shelf in what looked like, your standard kind of retail outlet.
Yeah, right. I kind of want to go and dig and see if I can find them now. I'll probably do that after we're done here. But yeah, it's strange that they've shown up in such limited quantities. That's
yeah, one of each.
I mean, maybe they're being held back for some big rollout. It feels like G.I. Joe is going to be due again for some kind of big point of sale display, like something in an aisle or an end cap display again. And I kind of wonder how much of this kid stuff may have been planned for that. I do think that as far as shipping some of this stuff goes, just to build on what we already talked about and these, is that shipping has been weird from China. And if I was Hasbro, obviously I'm not, but that's kind of what I always have to do, is try to think through, is there the ability to make some decisions here?
Just for legal reasons, Patrick is not Hasbro, guys.
Yeah, I'm
just
not Hasbro.
Okay, just checking.
But if are they able to swap some of the things in the shipping schedule is what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Because we know the manufacturing schedule is a beast of its own. But is there the possibility of getting different things on the boats that have been having problems getting into port and getting things out? So maybe some of the things that we have gotten have kind of pushed back some of these that they figured could wait. Could that be a possibility?
Very much a possibility, and one of the only possibilities I can really think of, because like you wouldn't expect them to be flying off the shelves anyway, those Titan figures. So it's not like I feel like they're not on shelves because people are like, rinsing them. Not that I don't think they are what they are, and I will be. But this is the thing, since I saw them and haven't seen them since, it's driven my curiosity so much that I need these figures.
Fine.
Is this on your? This is on purpose, Hasbro.
If you're looking to ditch something from the boats, I probably would look for the thing that was intentionally made to be large at a low price point.
And also float in the bath, so they'll just be easy to find again when they got to come swing round on the boat.
There's going to be one of those legends. How there's isn't there a legend about Garfield piggy banks or something, or Garfield telephones?
Yeah, there's telephones. Yeah,
or, 10 years from now, there's going to be classified, Duke 12-inch figures that are washing up on the shores, and they're like, what's going on here?
What is this? And then they'll get us out of retirement for a full force OAP weekly. We'll all be holding canes. Anyway, yeah.
Now I want them too. I'm going to have to look it up to see if I can find this stuff.
What's going to happen? Yojo June isn't about classified at all. It's the Titan figures. They're going to have a whole fan fest thing on the Titan stuff.
It would be amazing. Just seeing them on the dios all set up in they're just standing there. Yeah. Oh, they're so cute. I know they're often referred to as kind of shampoo bottles, aren't they? But I don't know. Oh God, stick anything in a box, stick G.I. Joe on it, and I'm going to buy it, aren't I? Jeez, what is wrong with me?
Jeez.
Anyway, yeah, you're right. I am. But yeah, well, that is the amazing Core Ninja news. Let's move on to a news story that broke this morning on Friday. Obviously, this is going out on Saturday. But on a news that broke this morning about a Diamond Select Toys bust. Bust. I like saying bust. Pre-orders went out a few days ago for this brand new Diamond Select Toys G.I. Joe Legends in 3 dimensions Storm Shadow bust. Designed by Joe Allard and sculpted by Salvador Gomez. The bust is 10 inches in height, sits on a sword hilt pedestal for added effect, will cost $179, and features Stormy Shadaniels in I couldn't help myself. In his vintage version 1 costume, 2 swords, and his famous quiver with arrows and multiple other sculpted weapons on there too. The detail is absolutely incredible, including multiple textures on the costume panels, as well as some really lifelike skin on the visible parts of his face. The bust should ship in October of this year, and we have included links to pre-order him in the description. Lads, does this bad boy take your fancy?
I think it looks cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really a statue/bust kind of guy, but
same.
I like the looks of it. I'm not sure if I'll buy it or not, but yeah. Anytime G.I. Joe is out there to a different audience, it's a good thing. And I think the sculpt work on it looks fantastic. I think his swords look more like steak knives than swords, but yeah, I think it's still. I really like what they've done with sort of the sculpting and the paint work. It looks spectacular. But I don't know if I'll get it, but yeah, I think it looks great.
I think it looks wonderful. I think that what it makes me think of is how different some of the interpretations of what Storm Shadow's mask should look like. Sometimes that it seems like it's almost like just a tight hood on some of the sculpts for Storm Shadow. I really like their take on it. I think that it's nice. It has kind of like some of the lines in the top that look like they're actually there on the original figure, and it kind of has, the part covering the mouth still has a separate piece from the rest of the hood. It looks really good. And it is almost crazy how realistic the eyes and everything. It looks like it's looking at me from, from the pictures of it online.
Stop looking at me.
Yeah, I don't buy the statues or anything like that myself, but I probably will actually intentionally watch a review or hopefully see one of these in person, because I would like to see how it looks in person versus those pictures.
Yeah.
See how it looks.
Yeah, the actual, it looks more lifelike than my face looks, which is quite impressive. But I also love the fact that what I think is really impressive about it is the fact that the face is almost, you can almost see that there's something under the mask. Like, you can see that the frown that's on his face translates across the whole head, even though you can't see it. And I'm not sure if that's my brain filling gaps in, but I just think it's a testament to the sculpt, to the design, to kind of get that realism when someone's wearing a mask like that, yet to get so much personality kind of flow out of it. I know we talked about that with the classified figures like Firefly and Storm Shadow himself as well. I'm trying to think of others that got a mask. I think it's just Firefly, isn't it? Firefly and Storm Shadow.
Beachhead.
Oh, Beachhead. Sorry, Beachhead as well. So to kind of get that personality in the sculpt when you've only got a very small window to kind of play with. And this figure, man, this statue, when you look at it and kind of give it some real close-up analysis, you can see there are different textures on different parts of the costume. You can see if you flip it round and look at the back, there's a mesh inside the hood. So they've obviously utilized reference for an actual piece of clothing, because the way that the lines sit as well really are realistic, and how the design of those kind of hoods would work in order to comfortably fit on the head and everything. Yeah, you're totally right. It's brilliant that. Yeah, it really is a beautiful piece of work. Again, not going to be getting it, probably not, because I'm not a big statue guy. I don't really have that much display space to really work with, he says, with the biggest wall behind him in human history, and a Unicron over there. But
just get rid of Unicron, there'll be plenty of room for
get rid of Unicron, and I can get all of the Prime 1 statues in its place.
Do we have a feel for the size of it? Because I'm looking at pictures again online and just marveling at it. But
it says on Big Bad Toy Store, which is where one of the pre-orders are, 10 inches. Roma Collectibles, Aaron Dietrich, shout out to Aaron, has said that if it's anywhere near the rest of the kind of line, it'll be around about 12 inches. So it's probably, it's officially 10, but only in that it's bigger than that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the face texture, like you guys said. It's just, I must have kind of given it a cursory look before, but now that I'm looking at it in more detail, it is, that's pretty amazing.
So 10 inches is about that, yeah? I'm kidding. 10 inches would... Well, if you had a 12-inch figure... Yeah, so it's going to be I think from the stand to the top of the head, it's probably about 12 inches, I would say. But it could be bigger. I don't. It strikes me as bigger, but they haven't got it in comparison with anything, so it's really difficult to see.
Yeah, I still remember getting some of the busts, back in the day, and you see the pictures online. You're picturing like a bust, but it comes through and it's this big.
Yeah. Well, I liked when Sideshow used to when they did their product images, there'd be an apple next to it, so you could see. That was every one they ever did, there was always an apple image in there to show you how big the actual figure was. But not a clue exactly, but it says officially 10 inches in height, so around that size.
It is gorgeous.
Thank you. I spent a long time on it. I'm kidding, I didn't. Anyway, we've got links in there as well, guys, if you want to jump on board with that one. Lots of statues in the game, man. Lots of statues. Diamond Select Toys, that's their second line this year for G.I. Joe statues. And I really like their diorama Destro and Profit Director Destro statues as well. They're really cool. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing more of these, even though I'm not interested in buying them. I'm really looking forward to seeing what else they do, because you can think of what the detail's going to look like on a face like, I'm not going to say Snake Eyes, on a face like Flint or Duke or someone like that, Zartan.
It's interesting because it's one of the only opportunities we have to kind of see these characters translated in quote unquote real life. I mean, even though it's not, if these characters appear in the movie, they're always going to look a little bit different. But these busts, I mean, I'm looking at this Storm Shadow, and that feels like what Storm Shadow, the 84 accurate Storm Shadow would look like if he was a person.
He'd have he'd have less of a forehead. It would just go straight back, wouldn't it? Because that head sculpt was well weird, I used to think.
That's true.
Do you think that they actually had somebody pose for the reference? Like, did somebody actually put this on? Because it looks so much like a real person. Like
it does, yeah.
That almost anyone would be able to just make up. The details are amazing.
Well,
yeah, they are.
It's designed by Joe Allard, sculpted by Salvador Gomez. So I'm going to see if I can contact them and talk to them about it, because it's that gorgeous. It deserves some sort of backstory as to how it was created and developed.
Really interesting to hear some of that.
Yeah, if they referenced anybody, if they actually utilized someone to actually. You're right. It's so realistic, and it's scaring me now, Pat. The more I think about it, the more I keep getting a glance of it on the document, and it's scaring me a little bit. I feel like Storm Shadow's in the room, and he's going to kill me because he's an assassin at this stage. I'm going to hold out for the digital camo version they release in a couple of weeks' time. In any case, that is Diamond Select Toys and the end of the news for this week. So even though there weren't that many stories, we still talked for like 45 minutes about it. Well done. So anyway, let's get stuck into the shout outs, shall we, gents? Right. Who's going to start this week? Should we have Justin start this week? Because you weren't on the last episode, Justin. You were on the movie special, which was amazing, by the way.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, maybe that's what I should do for my first shout out.
Exactly. That was me hinting. That was me hinting towards you.
Yeah. I mean, Henry Golding and Paramount were they could not have been nicer.
Worse.
And more engaging.
Horrible. Horrible people to deal with, just disgusting.
Yeah, he came on the screen. He's like, "Come on, ask me your questions. Let's get this over with." Yeah, no, he was. I mean, they warned us ahead of time that he might not even be on camera, and he was. So I mean, it was just had a great conversation. He complimented my workout space and my retaliation poster, and we just had a great conversation. Yeah, my body, yeah, of course. And just talked for like 12 or 15 minutes, and he was really friendly and made me feel like a part of the process, which was great. Paramount setting up the whole interview process and everything, providing the links to the trailers as soon as they were up.
Oh my god, man!
That experience was just crazy. I mean,
getting to see the bloody thing a week in advance was pretty amazing as well, wasn't it?
That was amazing too. And then there was the kind of the night, the MTV Movie Awards night, where we're kind of like, it's funny because
we'd already seen it. Yeah.
We've been waiting for months and months and months to see this thing, and we saw it early, which was great. And then it seemed really appropriate that the night that it was supposed to air, of course, they wait until the very final last minute of the award show to finally broadcast the trailer. And some of us actually sat through the award show and watched the whole thing. But it was. I loved it. It really gave me a lot of, kind of callbacks to Retaliation and Rise of Cobra. And I think the trailer debut, if I remember right, for Retaliation, I think I was actually on a business trip, and I was actually kind of in your not your old neck of the woods, but your old neck of the woods. I was in Kansas City on a business trip. And I think they launched the trailer for Retaliation for some bizarre reason at midnight. And I don't remember exactly why they did that, but I seem to remember being up in the middle of the night to watch the trailer and to do some kind of news, update for it. I'd really have to comb my brain to see why that was. I can't remember kind of what the reasoning for that was, but it really gave me some of that feel. And there was a lot of engagement, a lot of talking back and forth with the fans and all that stuff. It felt awesome. And even though people have been pooping on it a little bit afterwards, you can't help but have that little bit of thrill to see, there was a moment in time where Snake Eyes was trending on Twitter, and that's, take that for what you will, but that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but that was when that Nick Cage movie got re-released on DVD. That's what mattered. No, but I agree. I think it was a shame that there was a lot of, well, like I say, there was an element of the fandom that were just giving it. Like, I don't know. I don't really know what they were watching, but right. From my perspective, I thought it was fantastic. And when he uses the Uzi, I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, that's when I was on
Sold.
board too. Like when the first few moments of the and actually it's a tease. We keep on calling it a trailer. It's a teaser trailer. I think there was going to be a longer trailer coming out at some point.
Yeah,
but,
it's the movie. It's out on the 23rd of July.
Yeah, they're going to show the trailer before the actual movie. They're like, here's the full length trailer. Now you can watch the movie. But yeah, I mean, the minute he kind of popped out the window with the Uzi, I was like, oh yeah, that I'm sold. So
Yeah, that was amazing.
So that whole thing was good.
Yeah.
But then, of course, I've also got to shout out Clem4135 at Colton's Toy Time, who is a fan of the show and was very kind to myself and Chris. And I've actually already got I've got him up here on my display shelf. So he gave us our Major Bloods.
Major Blood!
So I think for the first time in Target exclusive history, I actually got a Target exclusive like within the first week or so that it was out. So I mean, he found a bunch of them right away, hooked up me and Chris, and I can't even tell how thankful I am for it, because I know how tough these are to find.
I'm kind of doing that now.
I know how tough these are to find, and just the fact that he thought of us when he found some extras was great, and it's a fantastic figure. Since we saw the first pictures of it, I was like, oh, I don't want to feed the scalpers, but I might have to feed the scalpers on this one if I don't get my hands on it soon. And it took that worry right out of my hands. So I really very, very much appreciate the hookup. So, and Major Blood is awesome.
I will also double that shout out to Clem4135 on Twitter, and check out his son's YouTube channel as well, Colton's Toy Time, as well. While we're here, you might as well. Links in the description. And yeah, exactly. Brilliant. Awesome. Keep up the great work, lads. Also, I'm going to just jump in here while we're in that kind of thanking people for Major Bloods. Pat, thank you very much, mate, for also hooking me up again with a Major Blood. And tell us all about that, please.
Yeah, it was, I didn't find a ton of them, but I got there with another collector who actually thought that I was taking all of them from the store. And it's like, no.
Punched you in the face.
Turn around. There are still more. I haven't gobbled up all of them for myself. And he was super happy. For some reason, he was all the way up here from Texas and was, I guess maybe it's that hard to find Major Blood. That you have to drive.
He was on a target run.
He was on a tour run.
Like, finally.
That took me 6 days, but I finally got him. Amazing.
That was my experience with that.
Didn't a friend of yours or like a boss or manager find out for you or something? And then
I've been you have to have everybody looking for these things. So
it's like a search party.
What?
It's like a search party, isn't it? It's
That's right.
Everyone's out there in Targets with combing the aisles, kind of thing. Yeah,
still wouldn't have a Baroness if I hadn't done that.
True that. It's just crazy stuff. Anyway, before we move on, Justin, did you have any more shout outs, by the way?
Oh, I do want to shout out. I got a shipment yesterday, I think, actually, and everybody probably knows who Pixel Dan is.
Never heard of him.
Another YouTube guy, but
never heard of him.
I picked this up, and I've slowly over the years. I was a Masters of the Universe collector actually before I was a G.I. Joe collector. I bought Skeletor, I think, a day before I bought Flash at my local Ames department store.
First figure was He-Man and Battle Cat. That was my first action figure.
So I have been a Masters of the Universe collector sort of, throughout my time. And then when Masters of the Universe Classics came out, I went whole hog, and I've been getting some of the Origin stuff, and I'm actually really excited for the Revelation stuff. But when I saw that Dan had this thing that's huge,
awesome, isn't it?
It's the toys of Masters of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I had to pick it up, and it's been worth every penny. I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds of pages. It's like 700 pages long. Every toy from the vintage line through classics, and I think even from it covers the Super 7 era of the classic stuff too. It doesn't quite get to Origins or any of that stuff, but totally worth the money, and I was really, really excited to have it. So a big shout out to him, because I know it takes a lot of work to put this book together. And I think, pre-COVID, he was traveling all over the country and taking pictures of a bunch of different collectors, collections.
Oh, right. I thought you meant of random collectors. Just there's one, there's another one.
Yeah.
Like he's bird watching or something. Yeah.
So I know he put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. So just props to him for putting that together.
Yeah, big shout out Pixel Dan, doing an amazing job in everything he does. Anyway, yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks, Justin.
Sure.
Right, Pat, let's get on to your shout outs, please, sir.
Okay, well, I was just almost going to ask Justin, is that still available on Amazon, or is that book sold out?
I think it's still available on Amazon. I actually bought it from the PowerCon website because I also got this character guide to go along with it. I didn't get mine on Amazon, but I think it's still available, but I'm not 100%
Is it
sure.
still available on the PowerCon website then?
It may be.
I guess I can check for myself.
Yeah. I pre-ordered it maybe a month or two ago, something like that, and then it just shipped a few days ago. So I'm not sure if it's still there, but it probably is.
Have a look on 80s Tees. It's probably on there.
Right. I guess for my shout-outs, I'm going to go with, I guess maybe Philip again. No, yes, I was planning on mentioning it was going to be Philip again. Because we are going to be doing another live on Sunday.
Awesome.
So I don't know how much it'll be G.I. Joe. There is a little bit we're going to squeeze in there for G.I. Joe, but Philip has some stuff that he's been working on that is also not G.I. Joe that he's very excited about. So hopefully we meet both topics very well, but we will be live again on Sunday.
Really enjoyed that last one. I'll be watching that one again.
I enjoyed you showing up to the last one and providing us with some comments and helping us out. So I really appreciated that.
No worries, man.
It is still available on Amazon.
Great. Yeah,
Good.
I actually watched several of his videos and remember him mentioning that he was excited to be working on Masters of the Universe in an official capacity. So I probably will pick that up one way or the other.
Coolsies. Any others, Pat? Are you good?
Shout out to our shirts. Are we fighting this week? Is that what's going on? Our t-shirts?
Oh man.
That was a complete accident, by the way.
Nice.
In my shout outs, I'll explain who to shout out for this t-shirt, but that's amazing, man. That is amazing. Amazing. Sky Striker Home Dogs and the Night Raven. So very, very cool. We are fighting. I'm always going to be the good guy though. I'm always Joe. Like, I know people are like, I speak to a lot of people, a lot of Joe fans, and they're all like, I was just like prefer Cobra because I thought it was cooler. I must have just been such a nerd for being, or goody two shoes for being all about G.I. Joe and like, no, I'm a Joe forever. We fight Cobra and all that. So yeah, we're in a fight, Pat. We're in a fight. Anyway, where did you get your t-shirt from by chance?
This is a Joe Harris, actually.
Nice. This might be then in that case, because thankfully, one shout out I'll do now is Eric Aranya, who gave me a bunch of hand-me-down t-shirts the other day, like I was his younger brother, which is really. He was like, I've got all these like XL G.I. Joe t-shirts. I'm going to throw them away, but do you want them? And I'm like, yeah, man. And then they're all really cool, like this, like neon green with the Sky Striker logo on, or
That looks like an Eric Aranya shirt.
yeah, exactly. It has probably got some sort of like, I don't know, some sort of hair on the back of it from his ponytail. But yeah, so yeah, big shout out to Eric. Thank you very much for that, my good man. As always, big shout out to the family and my wonderful wife, Kate. Love you all. To Brian Sauer, who continues to create some amazing graphics for us, as always. Also, we're always going to be shouting this out until it comes to an end. But obviously, shout out to Brian Hickey and Paddy Lennon, the men behind the Kickstarter book Total Action Force: The Battle Years. The book has passed halfway funded now, so if you haven't already jumped on, get on there and pledge right now. This won't be available following the Kickstarter, so if you want one, get on board now. Link in the description. As Justin mentioned before, massive shout out to Paramount Pictures and Henry Golding for being just the nicest people ever. It was so much fun, and a couple of things I will mention while we're here. Paramount are approving the video that I recorded with Henry for that particular interview where I reported on it, and they said that closer to the release date we'll be able to drop that, so that's awesome. And we're also going to be doing an interview with him again anyway, so that's going to be happening again before the release of the film. It just really hangs on when Henry can do it. The busy bee that he is. But it's been amazing to actually talk to him and converse with him on Twitter and then speak to him face to face, which was the most surreal moment ever. And when you do see the actual interview, you'll see how much of an absolute fanboy nerd I turned into when speaking to him. I like kind of got all like nervous and
crying, it's like
I was some sort he was like my college crush or something. It was weird.
He's a handsome man.
He is. Kate tells me every day how handsome Henry Golding is, and it's starting to get me like really worried that I'm gonna lose her to him. No, he is a beautiful man, I don't say that often. I do actually. I say it all the time. So anyway, I forgot to shout out Aaron at Roma Collectibles last week. I know I mentioned him earlier, but on something completely different. But he got me a case of 6 Cobra Infantry.
Oh, I got those too. Thank you, Aaron.
So thanks very much, Aaron. Like, massively appreciate that. I'm up to 12 now. I'm going to stop there. I'm stopping there with my Cobra Infantry. But usually, like, all I really want are like 4 of the army builders. Usually, that's the max that I go with.
Yeah.
But then with the infantry, I got worried that I wasn't gonna, things were gonna get cancelled. Pre-orders might get cancelled. I just got really like concerned that it would be really difficult to come by. And they've been the easiest figure I've ever had to obtain.
That's what happened to me too. I pre-ordered from like 4 different places because I was worried of canceled pre-orders, and now I've got like you said, like 12 of them.
It was funny. Like one day it was like the Pulse orders came in. The next day it was like Nick sent me some. The next day the 6 came in from Aaron. I'm like, and then Eric found one for me.
And then Hasbro sent us one.
And then I found one at the Toy Vault. So I'm like, this is ridiculous. They're just, I tripped over one in the gutter outside. There was one, someone had left a box of them on top of their car. I took them. I'm kidding, I didn't. But anyway, yes, massive shout out to Roma Collectibles and Aaron. Love you guys. Shout out to you, Pat, as I just mentioned it already, but I'm shouting you out again for managing to get me a Cobra Island Major Blood. I love you, man, so much. And we've already shouted out Clem. 4135, you get another one there. I picked up this amazing McFarlane Toys Blood Angels Hellblaster figure from Bbts. Now, I have been such a fanboy of the Blood Angels, Warhammer 40k, etc., etc. When I was a kid, it was the only set I had. I had, I think it was like Space Hulk, the game. I'm not sure if you've ever seen that, but it was like really cool, very Aliens-esque Warhammer 40,000 game. So I had that, and I had this little set of Blood Angels figures. Don't think I ever painted them either. I don't think I ever did actually get around to painting them. So I still have that set, and it's just a set full of those unpainted figures. But I just loved the aesthetic of the Blood Angels. So when McFarlane kind of came out with this, I was like, yes, on board. And this thing is so cool. Like, I got the blue Bandai Space Marine and the Ultra Marine, I think it is. And like, I was just desperate to find a Blood Angel one, and McFarlane have released this one, the Hellblaster, and it's just so cool. It's so heavy. Like, these figures are so heavy. It's like they're made of like granite or something. But yeah, really, really happy with that. So thanks Todd McFarlane for that. A couple other things we should mention as well. Shout out to Jeff Johnson for sharing some awesome turnarounds of his work on Joaquim Dos Santos' designs for Tunnel Rat and Flint from G.I. Joe Resolute. Really cool to see concepts and inputs from that cartoon. And when he posted that, I know, Justin, you were really excited. Yeah. I remember you resharing that on Facebook and being like, always good to see this stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, Resolute is one of those things that, from a story perspective, I could give or take, but the designs are just immaculate. It's almost perfection as far as I'm concerned from G.I. Joe Designs. Just the right amount of vintage inspiration, the right amount of modernization. They killed it, from a design perspective. So anytime I see any of those designs floating around, I get pretty excited.
It brought about one of the best modern era Snake Eyes figures for me as well, with the green visor and everything.
Absolutely.
And, I love everything. I really enjoyed Resolute. I remember I was working at Toys R Us at the time and watching the 5-minute, as they were coming out, they were little 5-minute YouTube videos, weren't they? And I remember every lunchtime, it's like, right, off to the the break room, sit down, YouTube, get that episode in, brilliant, wait for the next one tomorrow. And it was like, I think 10 lunches of that. It was like 10 5-minute episodes, I think, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
But or 10 I can't remember the but effectively it made up to like a normal feature length kind of film. But I really enjoyed that. And I kind of, I know there's some aspects of it that, are a little quirky, but I really, really I think I got a lot out of that particular cartoon. Pat, is that one of your... I mean, are you interested in Resolute at all?
For sure. Yeah, I was right-clicking and saving to make sure that those pictures wouldn't be not visible to me in the future. You know, I was excited to see those. I think that I've seen some other Resolute designs back whenever, you know, it was about to come out. So I probably should have my pictures on my computer better organized.
Yes, you should.
Those compared to some other things from the past that I may have, you know, already seen. But it's nice to revisit it because, like Justin said, those designs really were just wonderful updates of the existing characters. That's definitely my favorite part of Resolute, aside from, you know, having gotten finally some of those in action figure form. I'd still be happy to expand my roster of 4-inch Resolute action figures.
Yeah, definitely.
I just always loved those toys and the way that they looked in that cartoon.
Yeah,
I will say the one Resolute does play a role in probably one of my fondest G.I. Joe related memories, in that it was at JoeCon.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly which JoeCon. I think it was in Atlanta, but I think we're in Atlanta.
It was in Texas, wasn't it?
Was it Texas? It might have been Texas. But nobody had like any clue that this was even remotely in the works. And we went to a Hasbro presentation, the lights went out, and they played this trailer, and the room just exploded.
That trailer, that actual one from the con is on YouTube. So with all your reactions at the time, like are kind of cemented in there. Yeah.
Goosebumps for like an hour or 2 hours afterwards. Everybody in the room just went absolutely nuts. And that's, you know, one of my fondest memories, I think, of JoeCon and G.I. Joe in general, is just being in that room with all those people.
As I recall, everybody all at once jumped up.
Yeah.
Stood up. It wasn't anything planned or one of those situations where somebody does a standing ovation and everybody else decides, you know, hey, maybe we should stand up too. It was just the end of that.
Involuntary,
It with that. And it was like, boom, the whole room up at once. I wish that there was a video camera pointing away from the screen.
No kidding. Yep.
Pointing at us, because it was just so much fun. That was really exciting.
I hadn't started going to cons at that point, so you didn't have so many videos of every single angle going on.
Right. If you were there, man, it would have been, we would have known all about it.
It'd have been everywhere. But like it was funny, wasn't it? Because it was that like extra trailer that wasn't featured in the actual cartoon, wasn't it? It was like them running through the forest, being like, it was Roadblock and Duke, wasn't it, being chased by Cobra and Vipers and stuff. And then Snake Eyes is like taking them all out. Oh my god. And the way he kind of like pulls the sword out and whips his sword back and like slides. Oh my god, that was insanely good.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah. Anyway, cool. Okay. So shout out to Jeff. That's what we were doing. Shout out to Jeff Johnson for some awesome turnarounds. And again, that was Joaquin Dos Santos' designs originally, but he just did turnarounds and stuff for the actual, for the cartoon itself. Absolutely brilliant. Love that stuff. Now, this is a bit of sad news, but we did learn of the sad passing of David Anthony Kraft earlier this week. David was the story editor and scripter for 1995's G.I. Joe Extreme. Our thoughts are with his family and friends at this difficult time. Rest in peace, David, and Yo Joe. What is sad about that is that I would say that the three of us on here are all kind of big fans of like the kind of lesser loved, shall we say, G.I. Joe aspects. You know, we've got a big Sigma 6 lover in Justin Bell. I mean, we all love Sigma 6, but you know what I mean. Justin he's got websites devoted to it, the loser.
I got like five artwork things on my wall back there too.
Exactly. But then also, things like Pat brings this up all the time, but Sergeant Savage is brought up all the time by Pat in like every single facet, isn't it, mate? So that's another element of Joe that is kind of unloved in a way. But Extreme's one of those things that I think we all really enjoy in some way, shape, or form as well.
Especially the cartoon, yeah. I mean, they did some really fantastic storytelling in that animated series, yeah.
Yeah, actually, you I think were you there at
CoilCon?
At CoilCon, yeah, when Ben Torres was there, and I was gushing. I've always been a big fan of Extreme. It's one of those things where reinventing G.I. Joe on that level isn't an opportunity that comes along often. And I really think that Extreme, if you're going to say, okay, let's move on and do something different than Duke, Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, Cobra, and all of that, hitting upon a lot of the themes of G.I. Joe, with the Joes having a core team but a specialty, and then this villain that was appropriate for the time. I really kind of love G.I. Joe Extreme. It even has like these neat little homages to the original G.I. Joe. Whenever you see them pulling in on the Thundering Fury instead of the Mobat, and coming straight at the camera with all the Joes jumping off of it. That's cover of issue number 1. So it definitely homaged the original, the 1980s, I should say, more than the original G.I. Joe. It was a very smart update to the brand that lives in this tiny little chapter. And I'd really love to see it revisited. To me, it's a shame we're talking about this. We still don't have every episode, even on VHS. Like, it's not on Blu-ray, of course. It's not on DVD, of course. It didn't hit VHS. Like, to find and watch G.I. Joe Extreme, you're dealing with recordings that people took from TV where the beginnings are chopped off. And it's a shame. It's something that I would really love to see more of.
Absolutely. And it's a shame, like you say, it's a shame we're talking about it now because, one of the script editor and scripter himself has passed away, which is really sad. But yeah, there isn't really, there aren't many iterations of Joe that I'm not, fully on board with. Some of the early, I jokingly do refer to Rise of Cobra as a piece of shit. But at the same time, like, some amazing things came out of that. And, I love the toy line. And in terms of Extreme, like, I don't really have anything negative to say about it as well. Like, I've never looked at it and thought, this is crap, or I'm not really into this. Like, the actual cartoon is actually I started watching it recently, probably last year now, before COVID, in actual fact, so over a year now. I started watching that series again and really was getting into it. Like, man, I'm surprised this didn't do better. Like, I'm surprised it didn't get on to another series and we got more toys out of it, because it's actually quite good, and I'm kind of impressed with the level of it. But yeah, in terms of quality, we want to see this now on a Blu-ray or something, definitely.
Yeah, great thing to put on their YouTube channel if they could.
Yes, that'd be great. Add Extreme to the YouTube channel while they're doing Sigma 6.
Absolute genius.
Absolutely, that's a great idea.
Absolute genius. Justin will be hired by Hasbro by the next episode to deal with all of the YouTube goings on. Anyway, anyway, rest in peace, David, and like I said, our thoughts with your family at this difficult time. Now, and as we say on every week's show, we stand with the Asian and Pacific Islander communities in saying stop Asian hate, and will continue to do so. So follow the links in the description if you want more information or just want to do more to help. And as always, to our patrons, to our viewers, our listeners, we just dropped some really cool intel recently on our Patreon page. So to our patrons as well, thanks for all that you do for us. Hopefully some of the things that we're doing for you are worth it, shall we say, for you. So anyway, yes, we will be continuing to drop any cool intel on there before it kind of pops up on our news burst and so on and so forth. So if you want to get involved, you can join our Patreon and do that. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this one. This has turned out to be a really long episode and probably given me loads of work to do, but who cares, right?
It's just you. It's all right.
Sweet guys, so let's just get on here and talk for 3 hours.
No skin off my nose, yeah.
Exactly. It's all the skin is going to be off my entire body to do the edit on this one. There we go. I'm moving my hat up. There we go.
There's just some packages and a Storm Shadow statue.
That's it.
How the hell have I managed to draw this one out? Anyway, absolute pleasure as always, lads. That brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you for watching the Full Force Weekly. Massive thank you to my awesome co-host Patrick Notpicard Stewart and Justin Generals Joes Bell. See you next time, and as always, after 3, 1, 2, 3, Full Force! This is getting too good. I don't like it when it's too clean. I want it to be all over the place. And
you like it dirty.
I do. So that's where we're going to cut. When I do that, I do, and then cut. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I'm probably going to cut there just to make it even funnier. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/TheFullForce, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.